Long ago, in a land surrounded by mountains and golden fields, there lived a young potter named Aaron. He was known across his village for his gentle hands and patient heart. Every day, he shaped clay under the warm sun, creating bowls, vases, and lamps for the townsfolk. But while his hands worked, his eyes often drifted toward the great castle that stood atop the distant hill. It was said that the king's artisans created works so fine they could make even stone appear alive. Aaron would whisper to himself, "One day, my hands will craft something worthy of the king's eyes." Yet when night came, and he looked at his cracked tools and the worn roof of his little hut, that dream slowly faded into silence. One evening, as the sky burned crimson, an old traveler stopped by Aaron's workshop. The man's robe was torn, but his eyes were calm, like someone who had seen many worlds. He watched Aaron work and said softly, "You shape the clay well, young one, but your spirit hesitates. Why?" Aaron smiled shyly. "I dream of creating something that will live forever," he said, "but I am just a village potter. The world beyond these hills is for the great and gifted." The old man chuckled gently. "Dreaming is the seed, child, but only action is the water that lets it grow. Clay in your hand can become anything if you dare to shape it." And before Aaron could reply, the old traveler had vanished into the mist. That night, Aaron couldn't sleep. The traveler's words echoed in his heart. He rose before dawn, gathered his tools, and began to mold the largest piece of clay he had ever touched. Days turned into weeks. His hands bled. The villagers laughed. "He's gone mad," they said. "No one will buy a pot that size." But Aaron didn't stop. He worked through storms, through hunger, through doubt. Every strike of his hand carried a piece of his dream. Finally, after 40 long days, he unveiled his creation, a magnificent clay statue of a phoenix rising from the ashes, its wings spread wide, every feather carved with love and pain. And when the morning sun touched it, the sculpture glowed as if it had fire within. The king's guards, passing through the village, saw the statue and were astonished. They carried it to the palace. When the king saw it, he stood in silence for a long time, then asked, "Who created this?" When they brought Aaron before him, the young potter knelt humbly. The king said, "This is not the work of hands alone. This is the work of a heart that refused to surrender." From that day, Aaron became the royal artisan. His name lived for generations, not because he dreamed big, but because he acted bigger. Years later, when Aaron had grown old and gray, a young boy asked him, "Master, how did you become so great?" Aaron smiled and said, "The dream is the spark, but the action is the fire. Many dream of touching the stars, but few build the wings to reach them. Dreams without action fade, like footprints in the sand. But when you act with courage and faith, your dream becomes your destiny. Dream big, act bigger,